The morning sun peeked through the windows of the gym in the luxurious mansion, casting a soft glow over the muscular figure of the mafia lord Jungkook. He was only wearing a pair of loose grey sweatpants while doing his morning workout. His muscular arms and abs were covered in sweat, making him look like a god-like figure. As he held himself in a plank position, he glanced up at the clock, a smirk playing at his lips as he heard the sound of approaching footsteps. The gym door cracked open, revealing his wife, who stood in the doorway in a loose t-shirt and shorts. He gave her a sly smile, noticing that she had once again come just in time, as she did every day when he was doing push-ups. He held himself in the plank position for a moment longer, eyeing his wife as she stood in the doorway. He let out a smirk and said, "Jungkook, on time, darling." His eyes roamed over her figure appreciatively as he continued doing his push-ups. The sight of her standing there, in her loose t-shirt and shorts, made him feel a pang of desire, but he tried to focus on his workout instead. He didn't want to get distracted by his beautiful wife right now, even though he knew that she was the reason why he always did his push-ups in the morning. She gave him a playful smile and said, "Fine, how could I miss this chance? When my morning starts with this ultimate kisses." She stepped closer to him, her eyes fixated on his muscular arms. He let out a low chuckle, feeling a spark of excitement at her word. He continued doing his push-ups, now with a renewed energy. "Jungkook, ah, so you just want to check me out every morning, huh?" he said with a smirk, his muscle flexing with each movement. She walked closer to him and stepped a few steps away from him. She looked him up and down, taking his sweaty, muscular body. "Fine, I could check you all day long," she said with a sly grin. "And lucky for me, you do these push-ups every morning. Jungkook, you can come closer, right?" he said, his eyes locking with hers. She moved closer to him and slid beneath him, her small body fitting perfectly under his muscular frame. She looked up at him with a sly smile and said, "Fine, I know I can, and I will." She reached out and placed her hands on his chest, feeling the heat and sweat on his skin. He let out a low chuckle. He leaned down, his face just inches away from her, and said, "Jungkook, I love seeing you beneath me, darling, but especially at night." His voice dipped suggestively as he closed the distance between them. Their bodies pressed close together. He could feel her soft curves against him, and he couldn't help but think about the many ways he could have her later. But for now, he had to finish his workout. He let out a low breath and pushed himself back up, his arms straining as he continued to do his push ups. Her breath caught at the intensity of his gaze, and she felt a rush of heat wash over her. She bit her lips as she looked up at him, feeling the weight of his body above her. "Wine, oh, I know all too well," she said, her voice low and sultry. "But right now, I am just here to enjoy the view. I'll save the rest for the night." He paused his push-ups for a moment and looked down at her, a mix of amusement and desire on his face. "Jungkook, you are getting more and more forward every day," he said, his eyes racking over her body. "And I love it." He gave her a predatory smile and then continued doing his push-ups, his body moving with powerful strength. She laughed and gave him a playful smack on his chest. "Van, come on. You're supposed to be doing your push-ups," she teased. "You can't stop in the middle to flirt with me." He chuckled and resumed his push-ups, each repetition bringing him closer to her. With each push-up, he lowered himself down to gently kiss her forehead before pushing back up. Then, on some repetitions, he could help but tease her a bit more, stealing a kiss on her lips in between before pulling back up. She couldn't help but giggle every time he did that, her heart skipping a beat at his small shows of affection. She stayed beneath him, watching his strong muscles flex with each movement, feeling a sense of safety and comfort in his presence. She giggled when he kissed her nose and said in amused whine, "You did already 120, how many you gonna do more?" He kissed her nose again and jokingly said, "Jungkook, only 120, you think that's enough?" He continued doing his push-ups, his arms and chest straining with each rep but still looking strong and powerful. "I can do way more than that, honey." She playfully smacked his chest again, her laughter filling the room. "Man, you are such a show off," she teased, her eyes sparkling with amusement. "You already look like a good like, and you still want to be." He just shrugged and gave her a cheeky grin. "Jungkook, what can I say? I can't help it if I want to look even more good like for you," he said, his eyes locking with her. "Besides, the more push ups I do, the more chances I have to kiss you." She blushed and looked away, feeling her heart flutter at his words. "Man, as if you need more chances to kiss me," she muttered. But there was a hint of a smile on her lips. "Jungkook, but I always want more chances to kiss you," he replied, his voice low and husky. "I can never get enough of you." With that, he lowered himself down for the next push up, taking the opportunity to steal another quick kiss from her lips before pushing himself back up. She gave him a playful sweat again and said, "Wine. All right, hubby, that's enough. You have an important meeting to get ready for." She wriggled out from beneath him and sat up watching as he finished his last few push ups. He chuckled as she hit him again, enjoying their playful banter. "Jungkook, fine, fine," he said, finally stopping his push ups. "I guess I'll have to take a break and get ready for my meeting." He stood up and stretched his arm above his head, his muscles rippling with each movement. "But later, you all mine." She looked up at him, her eyes taking in every inch of his flawless body. He was like a living sculpture, with perfectly stitched muscles and sharp masculine features. "Mine, you are so unbelievably hot. You know that?" she said, not able to keep the words from slipping out. He smirked, clearly enjoying her reaction. "Jungkook, of course I do," he said, flexing his muscles slightly. "But hearing you say it never gets old." He centered closer to her, towering over her small frame. She blushed at his proximity, feeling the heat radiating off his body. "Man, you are so arrogant," she said, trying to look annoyed but failing to hide the desire in her eyes. He smirked and pulled her closer to him, his hands encircling her waist, his strong arms enveloping her petite frame. He looked down at her, his eyes filled with heat and desire. "Jungkook, maybe I am arrogant," he admitted, his voice low and husky. "But can you blame me when I have you, darling?" His lips crashed down onto hers, claiming her mouth in a hot and possessive kiss.